Okay, guys, good morning. Good morning sa ating lahat. And welcome to Marriage Empowerment Toast with Jet and Money. So, andyan na ba kayo sa loob? Let us wait for a while para makikita natin kung andyan na ba, mayroon na bang tao sa loob. Now, don't forget to click the link above para makikita namin yung mga comments ninyo, guys. So, once again, good morning, Tatay.
Good morning.
Good morning. And this is Jet and Money for Marriage Empowerment Toast. And parang kailan lang, this is our third webisode in this particular segment ng marriage empowerment natin.
Yes.
And then, Tatay, belated happy Valentine's sa kanilang lahat.
Oh, I just remember
Okay,
also
so,
belated happy
yes.
Valentine's
Did you
Day.
enjoy in your Valentine's Day? Tayo, saan ba tayo nang galing?
I won't tell our audience where, but it
Okay.
was so exciting, very enjoyable.
Oo.
Okay.
So, we are waiting for you guys na mag-comment para malalaman namin kung nasa loob na ba kayo. But before that, you have to click the link above, yung sa StreamYard, allowing them na maka-access sa comments po ninyo.
Yes.
So, this is a very exciting day kasi yung topic natin, medyo mabigat yung topic natin, Tatay.
Bigatin ng topic natin ngayon.
Oo. So, yung topic natin, love and sex in marriage.
Oh, that
So,
would be great.
so before anything else, before tayo magtatalakay ng love and sex, let us make a toast with each other. So, yeah. Good morning. Good morning. And let us just make some adjustments muna. So, please comment, good morning and belated happy Valentine's sa inyo. So, love and sex in marriage, eto yung topic, Tatay, na ang daming nadapa.
Oh,
Ang daming
nahulog at
nadapa.
saka nadapa.
Pero marami ring jokes na nagagawa sa topic na to. Marami tayong mga, minsan nga sinasabi nila, tinatawag nila na green jokes, ano. Pero nakakatawa minsan, minsan parang let's say, parang nakakasakit loob din. Bato-bato sa langit, ang matamaan, huwag magalit.
And we're sure that our audience have many jokes in their marriages pertaining to
Yes.
sex.
Ang daming pinagtatawanan ninyo with respect to love and sex in marriage. And then, maraming nadadapa, maraming jokes na nagagawa or nasusulat, marami ding namomroblema.
Na-addicted.
Maraming namomroblema. And minsan, hindi tayo marunong paano ba kaya natin isusolve ang problemang yon kasi minsan or kung talagang sa culture natin minsan lang natin pinag-uusapan sa bahay to.
So, pag problema na, mabigat talaga kasi
Parang
we
nahihiya
seldom
tayo.
discuss these things.
Nahihiya tayo na i-discuss at home and minsan nga tayong mag-asawa kahit nasa loob natin parang meron tayong problema with respect to this issue in marriage. Pero minsan hindi natin masasabi sa partner natin.
Bigla na lang tumahimik.
Yeah, bigla na lang hindi
Nagwala.
nagkakaintindihan dahil hindi naman nadidiscuss sa loob ng marriage. And then
that's correct.
Kaya nga minsan yung mga medyo katulad ko na yung marami ng taon sa marriage. Very young na malalaki na yung mga bata. Minsan yung mga bata natin.
Isa lang bata natin.
Dalawa, mayroon tayong adopted. So minsan yung mga anak natin sa labas na sila natututo. Dahil hindi nga tayo nagdi-discuss sa loob, tapos wala tayong masyadong magandang maisabi sa kanila or ma-lecture sa kanila in a way na kasi tayo rin ang problema mismo.
Walang
Diba?
schooling sa bahay.
Oo. So, walang formal school with this one, especially with this particular issue in marriage. Kaya, nagde-decide kami na ngayon na, eto yung tamang araw na or episode na pag-uusapan ang love and sex in marriage dahil alam natin from the start na yung marriage talagang na umiikot lang siya sa love, yung passion, intimacy at commitment.
At saka ang timing din sa araw na to, 2 days after
Valentine's. So baka mayroong nadadapa dyan, mayroong natatawa dyan, mayroong na-frustrate
mayroong
dyan.
nakatulog dyan.
Mayroong na, kaya nga yung tanong ko sa title, tinutulugan na lang ba kayo ni partner? So yung mga ganong issues na yan. So yung pangalawang episode naman natin, we tried to present reality na meron talagang tatlong ginagawa ngayon ang mga couples na sila galing yun sa desisyon nila. Number one, after passion, intimacy, tapos problemado si commitment, siguro magko-cohabitate. Then second, meron namang commitment pero medyo meron pang balakid sa desisyon nila kaya nagsi-civil wedding sila. And then yung pangatlong reality na nagsasubmit talaga sila into church wedding.
Yeah.
And we said and we suggested that the best option between civil and church wedding, the better option is church wedding. But between cohabitation, civil wedding, and church wedding, the best decision pa rin, the best choice is church wedding because of the element of the covenant part. It's not just up to contract, but plus the covenant part.
That provides the blessing.
Yeah, that provides the blessing
and the graces.
maghahatid sa atin na magiging saint, no? Maghahatid sa atin na heavenward yung relationship natin.
Because aside from being a contract, it has now become a covenant and elevated into being a sacrament.
Yes. So, then this one, eto yung journey na ng marriage. Kung mayroon ng commitment, mayroon ng journey of marriage and nagsa-start siya sa unang gabi.
First night.
Yung first night. Oo.
First night.
So, ano ba yung mangyayari sa first night? Ano ba yung exciting sa first night? But in the first place,
recall nga.
yung first night natin, naiwan natin yung Bible sa hotel room. Ano. So, anyway, it's of course an exciting experience yung first night, lalo na pag hindi nako-consume before marriage, di ba? So, kaya nga, suggested talaga na dapat walang premarital sex kasi mas exciting kung sa first night doon nyo i-consume yung sexual act na yan.
Mas exciting, yeah.
Yes. But before that, Tatay, could you please establish ano ba talaga yung sex?
Marriage experts, is what we have known and was what we have read, talks of sex in the following manner. Sex is not just about dreaming. It is not just about craving. It is not just about picturing about it. It is not just about being stimulated or being depressed by it. But the key phrase here, sex is thinking about it. The keyword is thinking about it.
So when you think about it, you strive to see, 'di ba? You strive to savor and you strive to yung talagang mananamnam mo. Mananamnam mo kasi para siyang meron siyang function eh. So yung sex is not just yung nag-i-imagine ka lang na masarap siya. So dapat iniisip mo siya and lalo na sa girls, lalo na sa women na yung sa amin kasi it starts from the thought.
Yeah, okay.
Sa yung difference, 'di ba? Kasi si lalaki it starts from the gut, from the gut level dito sa tiyan. Tayong mga babae sa ulo natin galing eh. Kaya nga minsan dapat hindi siya nadi-disturb. Si wifey hindi nadi-disturb. So dapat naka-focus siya thinking about it and excited about it and dapat din malalaman niya kung ano yung function of marriage.
Yeah.
So ano nga pala yung function of marriage, Tatay?
The function of marriage are two-way functions. You have first the so-called unitive, the other is known as the
To
baby
serve.
part, to
To
serve.
serve. The
Yeah,
function is to serve the other, to serve the partner. Yon yung function. So matanungan natin sila kung meron namang nag-a-attend dito, sino bang mahilig sa sex? Sino bang mahilig? Sinong mareklamo? At sinong nadedehado usually?
yeah. But a little about seeing and thinking about sex. When we say thinking about sex, one is striving to see the whole picture out of it. So this is rationality, meaning the mind is at work here. This is not just dreaming, this is not just about pleasure, but this is entirely a rational thing, thinking about it in its overall sense and in the innermost reality of it. Not just the pleasure of it, but the innermost reality of it. And what is that? It has something to do with the function. It has something to do with the function that is meant
To
to
serve.
serve the function of sex, the purpose upon which it is being made.
Mm. Kasi eto yung ah organ na medyo hindi siya magiging complete agad. Kasi
Yes.
yung meron tayong kasi 'di ba sinasabi na yung tao nga is an unfinished product dahil yung kalabaw, yung baka, yung manok pag sila ay isinilang agad-agad nakakalakad.
Yes.
Pero yung tao, we have to develop for how many years? In fact, we have to wait sa puberty stage natin kung doon nagde-develop na yung sexual ano natin, desires natin. Yung lungs, okay lang. Yung ilong, yung senses, yung mata, okay lang.
They
Pero,
have a specific
oo, they have
purpose,
the specific
and in
purpose.
themselves they are complete already.
Pero yung sa sex natin, talagang very incomplete at mako-complete lang yan, lalo na namin sa mga babae, yung physiological completion yan kung merong partner na lalaki.
Yeah.
And at the same time, kayo
Yes.
rin na kung merong partner na babae, nako-complete yung sexual ano natin,
To
organ.
simplify things, talking of sex, the first thing that comes into mind, concrete thing, are the bodies of man, meaning the body of a woman, the body of man. Now, organs here are complete in themselves, organs of the body, except these, parts of the sexuality of man, which in themselves do not make sense without the other. Like, for instance, the only way a woman's body, okay, a woman's body, with regards to the context of sexuality, a woman's body on its own does not make sense. We can only fully understand it within the context of a man's body. And a man's body in itself would be incomplete. It does not make sense. We can only fully understand it within the context of a woman's body. This is the idea. We say in themselves they are not complete. Okay, Maura ni, this is the only organ, the bodily organ that is in itself incomplete. The woman's body, the man's body, bodily existence. There is such a thing as incompleteness. Okay.
And it can be completed with your partner. So kaya nga mas malalim dapat yung understanding natin sa gift na to ng Panginoon
Oh,
to the married couple na eto yung lang nagpapakompleto sa atin. Na minsan, 'di ba, pag single lang pa tayo, yung maiisip natin, bakit parang may kulang?
yeah.
Oh,
Let's go back to the first night. The first night you have here one specific act. We call it the sexual encounter, marital sexual encounter. And this encounter is very bodily, right? Bodily, it's very bodily. The body of a woman, the body of a man, into a sexual encounter. Now, what is the underlying thought here? Seeing the whole picture of it. The woman's body is incomplete. It can be given sense only with the man's body. The man's body is having no sense without the woman's body. But in that first night, Jet, in that first night, they are there completing each other as two bodily beings.
Nagiging
Right?
one flesh.
That's why you have one flesh. It is a sexual encounter that is beyond pleasure, that is beyond being bodily. That's why you have seeing, striving to see sex in the innermost reality and in the function it is meant to serve. Okay? In the function it is meant to serve. What is the purpose of it? Why is it requiring the presence of the body of a man and a woman to make sense?
Mm.
Right?
So, yung
Uh,
purpose ng sex, dalawa siya, tatay.
yeah.
Una is for bonding. Na,
Yes.
'di ba, pag naging
Um,
close na tayo, mayroong passion, attracted ako sa iyo,
mm,
tapos intimacy, ando na yung ricados ng intimacy,
yes.
and then we commit with each other, then the next thing is meron ng bonding. So, yung sexuality dito na
Mm,
pinag-uusapan, eh hindi lang hanggang sexual act ng mag-asawa.
yeah, that is very
Yeah.
bodily.
Kasi pag
Okay.
sinasabing bonding, yung bonding hindi lang naman nagiging isa dahil sa sexual act na yon.
And this bonding is, the other term for it is your sexual intimacy,
Mm.
where you see concretely both bodies
Mm.
sexually encountering with each other. So you have two hot bodies, that's passion. Very hot bodies during the first night. If you may recall, all bodies, both bodies were very hot at the time. That's passion, meaning they are passionately in love. These hot bodies are passionately in love with each other. But take note, this is not verbal. Okay,
Mm.
but both bodies are communicating with each other. They are communicating with each other, and they are so hot. But the so-called hot bodies, you also have warm.
Which
Okay?
is intimacy.
Intimacy. So these are two bodies, warm bodies, which are intimately in love with each other.
Mm. So
Okay.
yung sexual na love and sex na sinasabi natin dito within marriage is not just yung mababaw lang na understanding
Yeah.
natin na hanggang sexual act lang, na minsan kaya nagko-complain yung iba kasi hindi nakarating sa expectation niya, naging frustrated siya doon.
That,
But
that,
in a way, yung mas lalong mabigat yung sexual gift na 'to is when you think of it that I am serving this person,
yes.
he is serving me, and we are one flesh and we are bonding together.
In the function, it is meant to serve. And take note, Jet, uh, our episode today is actually inviting everyone to strive to see sex in the innermost reality.
Mm.
Okay, that
So,
makes it very comprehensive, not only limited to what is known as the sexual act, the genital act.
oo.
Okay.
Okay, so we would like to acknowledge yung ano natin, ha. I want to give you a book. May I know your address and contact number? Yes po, i-ano ko na lang,
Yeah,
i-message ko na
later.
lang sa iyo
Okay.
later. Thank you in advance for the book, and thank you for being with us this
Okay.
morning na medyo mabigat yung dinidiscuss natin, love and sex in marriage. And we are looking into the deeper meaning of sex, na hindi lang siya hanggang physical act, no? Kundi meron talaga siyang intention, yung function niya is to serve one another as a
Okay.
husband and wife, and hindi magiging complete yung isa kung wala yung isa, kaya nagiging one flesh tayo,
In
and
okay.
in this
The
part, in the
function,
function
it
of
is meant
it is meant to
to
be. Kasi,
serve.
let's say for
Okay.
example, yung ilong, yung function niya is para talaga makahinga tayo. Yung
Oh,
mata, yung function niya
to
ay
take in
para
light so we can see.
makakita
Okay.
tayo. But then, yung sexual act, yung sexuality in marriage, ay para mag-serve. Yung function niya is to serve one another. So, sana naiintindihan nyo yung medyo malalim na meaning ng um, meaning ng sex and love in marriage. Good morning, brad and sis. God bless. Good morning din po.
Okay. Good morning
Sis
to
Amalia,
everyone.
good morning.
That's why, Jet, uh, this is a very difficult topic for couples to ordinarily discuss in their marriage.
Yes.
That's why mentoring is necessary, right?
Yes.
Okay. When we discuss these things, talagang malalim, mabigat. Like when you say, in the function it is meant to serve, it here is sex. So what is the purpose of sex? It has something to do with the purpose of sex. Okay? So what is then the purpose of sex? Um, we can have an analogy on the different organs of the body, as mentioned by you, the eyes, the ears, the nose, they have their own complete functions already. But this bodily being, the body of a woman, the body of a man, in themselves are not complete. They do not make sense in themselves, except when there is the presence of the other. Okay? That's why you see that the meaning there, the sense is there in the first night. When both of them, bodily beings, are brought together in intimate union, passionate with each other in that bed, matrimonial bed. So what happens there at the end? You will not just simply conclude na this is an ordinary event, but this is a very ordinary,
Extraordinary.
extraordinary event. We have become one, and so that you will say, I am yours. Oh, pakita yung
Oo. So,
props.
kaya nga,
Right?
meron akong props dito.
I
So,
am
di ba,
yours.
Valentine's, ang galing nating mamigay ng Be Mine, pero napakalalim ng kahulugan ng Be Mine na to.
And I
Oo.
am yours.
And then, I am yours and Be Mine is a very deep
Yeah.
phrase, actually. And then, siguro, yung unang purpose ng marriage is bonding. Second is, of course, to procreate.
Mm.
Yeah. Kasi alam natin na pag ginagawa natin yung sexual act na yan, kung fertile lang si babae, talagang mamumunga yan.
Yes.
'Di ba? So, we really have to anticipate na pag ginagawa namin ito at nagpa-project kami ng baby, talagang mamumunga yan. Kaya, there is a great need for the third element of love, which is commitment. Kasi yung baby na yan, yun uh, oras at saka yung taon na kailangan niya with us as parents, ay nangangailangan siya sa atin. Yun yung isang element na kailangan talaga ng commitment.
And we have words for that, for babies. They are known as the lifelong consequence of
Sexual
intimacy.
intimacy.
So, that is why you said, mamumunga yan. Pag fertile si babae at saka may sexual union, mamumunga yan. And the baby is not just an ordinary consequence. The baby, whether you like it or not, it's the lifelong consequence, the lifelong result of sexual intimacy. Mamumunga yan si sexual intimacy.
So it's not a temporary consequent, but at the same time, isa siyang permanent. So,
Yes.
kaya kailangan talaga yung element of commitment. Kasi pag walang commitment, para siyang manok nga. Sa yung sabi
Yeah.
kong, iiwanan lang niya yung itlog at biglang lilipad
And
yung
this is
partner.
the very purpose of sexual intimacy. We call this procreative. This is the very purpose of sexual intimacy na mamumunga talaga. We call it procreative. Okay? The sexual intimacy is your uniting act, unitive act. But the procreative act that will produce new life, which is the lifelong consequence of sexual intimacy, are babies. So not just a temporary consequence yet, but a permanent one, a baby. So logic here would tell us that if babies, okay, if babies are a permanent consequence, okay, if babies are a permanent and lifelong consequences of sexual intimacy, then sexual intimacy is best experienced is best, and this is a requirement, is best experienced in a permanent, lifelong, committed relationship, and that is marriage. Because you have sexual intimacy. You have sexual intimacy, and you have consequence of sexual intimacy, which are babies, and these are lifelong consequences of sexual intimacy. What happens to the babies? You have problems there if you will not secure them with this commitment, with this lifelong and permanent institution of marriage.
Kaya diyan
Yeah.
talaga papasok yung I am totally yours and be mine. So
Tsaka,
yun yung nagpapabigat sa I am totally yours and be mine. Kasi alam natin na dalawa yung magiging resulta. One is, of course, naging close tayo, naging one tayo. So mayroong bonding, mayroong connection,
intimacy,
intimacy,
sexual in
sexual
nature.
intimacy yan.
Okay.
At the same time, we know na there will be a chance na mamumunga talaga yan.
Yes. And so this is a thing we have to broaden our minds, our seeing. Because when we say, I am yours, you are mine, we do not say, my body is yours, your body is mine. No, we say, I am yours, you are mine. That's why you have total free gift of self. It's the entire self I am giving to you through the expression of my body in that sexual intimacy. First night, you have bodily sexual encounter. Hot, warm, but there is thinking, the cold ingredient of the love recipe. We have to think of the consequences of the sexual intimacy. So when I offer to you my body, it's not only my body, it's my entire self. And that includes my wallet, my finances. When I said, I am yours, I am including my wallet, my bank deposit, if any.
Yeah.
Oh, not just my body. Otherwise, if it's only my body, then that is not intimacy in the real sense of the word.
Yes, correct. But then we also have to think, tatay, na sinabi natin na yung best option is the church wedding, 'di ba? Church
Yes.
marriage. But it doesn't mean na best option siya. It doesn't mean na walang problema. Okay, na walang mga bumps ahead.
Opportunities lang yan.
Opportunities. Oh yeah, opportunities yan. Now, let's say for example, meron tayong isang wifey na magsasabi, my husband or merong hubby naman na my wife doesn't love me anymore.
Probably not the day after the first night. Probably a few weeks later, you know, mayroon nang nagko-complain na not much of the husband, I think, but more of the wife complaining, my husband doesn't love me anymore.
Oo, kasi they also have to consider na ang babae talaga, kung tinatanong, sino bang masyadong nagko-complain with respect to this
You
particular
ask our
issue?
audience. Do not ask me.
Sino ba yung masyadong nagko-complain with respect to sex? Now, sa punto ko, it's usually the girl or the wifey. Why? Because kami yung may maraming hormonal changes. So, up and down yung ano natin. Lalo na pag after the menopausal period. Oo. So, before the menstruation period or after the menstruation period, ang daming changes ng mga babae. Kaya minsan, hindi naiintindihan ng mga partner ng mga lalaki.
And they will just suddenly say, my husband doesn't love me anymore.
Yes. But actually, ang unang reason na pwedeng sagot niyan sa tanong na yan or sa concern na yan is maybe lack of passion lang. Kulang lang yung passion.
It has something to do with passion as an ingredient of love. First night yung ano yung overflowing yung passion,
Nag-umapaw.
nag-uumapaw yung passion. Pero even with the church wedding, even with the blessing, it is not a guarantee that your passion will sustain. We have to take care of these things so that passion may continue in its level and especially the level we experience during the first night. But there are instances when passion runs low,
Mm, mm,
and that's
mm.
the time when one spouse would declare, "My husband, my wife doesn't love me anymore." Let me,
Siguro sa first night, medyo excited pa,
yeah.
medyo we are yung mind ninyo kasi sabi mo kanina thinking yung mind ninyo naka-align pa na doon talaga yung punteriya ninyo kaya nga kayo nagpapakasal 'di ba? But then in time yung age also matters,
Yeah.
'di ba? In time nawawala din yung drive na ganon, yung sexual drive natin. But minsan yung iba magkaiba yung pacing.
Yeah.
Madali yung nawala na biglang nawala yung pace yung yung passion ng isang tao, yung isang partner. Tapos eto mas passionate pa siya.
Yeah.
So, minsan din dapat pag-uusapan, communication talaga helps in marriage, no? Na pag-uusapan niyo na ano ba yung gagawin natin na medyo magkakaroon naman ng fun. Kasi minsan parang naging routine na siya eh. Naging routine, naging pareho na lang kung sabi pa nga nila, gano'n na lang palagi yung flavor. So, nakakaumay din. So, kaya yung merong mga partners na gusto talaga ng variety.
Mm.
'Di ba? May partners naman talaga na gusto ng
Salad
variety.
na naman
Oo.
ngayon.
So, yung siyang pagkain, 'di ba, na
Uh,
ngayon salad, ngayon cake, ngayon fatty food,
maraming tamis.
oo. So, siyang gano'n na kung hindi niyo lalagyan ng fun element yung sexual act na yan, eh talagang mawawala yung sinasabi nila na maboboard yung isang partner. Ay, palagi na lang ganito eh. Expected ko na yan eh, na ganun eh. So, that, parang ganon.
Let me go deeper to the aspect of passion that is going high, going down. Let us be settled that when a wife or a husband says, "I don't love him anymore," it has something to do, according to studies conducted by marriage expert Jimmy Evans. He said, it's all about passion. And this can be easily remedied. This is not a difficult case. Why? Because with regards to passion in sex, this has something to do with your sexual energy. Okay? If you are sexually energetic and your energies, including your strength, sexual energy, sexual time, is invested in your marriage, then you are passionate sexually in your marriage.
Mm-mm.
The moment you invest the sexual energy, time, and strength to some other things, then gradually you will lose your passion in your marriage, because the principle says here, where your heart, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Where you are investing your sexual energies, time, and strength, your passion will follow. So, example, a husband, instead of investing sexual energies to his marriage, instead go with friends, go
Oo.
on
So,
biking. Okay.
yung partner, instead of yung focus niya is serving the partner through the sexual activity, eh mas marami
Investment of
siyang
the sexual energy.
mas marami siyang oras sa paglalaro, mas marami siyang oras sa trabaho,
Sa friends niya.
mas marami siyang oras with his friends or her friends, mas marami siyang oras sa mga bata. Di ba? Na, na, na nawawala yung focus niya for that particular act to serve the purpose is to serve the
Yeah.
person.
And there's nothing wrong in investing with children. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with investing time and energy in work. There's nothing wrong with that. But then you have marriage. Sexual energies must also be invested in marriage so that passion will follow in that
Mm-mm.
marriage. Otherwise, if your sexual energy is invested somewhere else, your passion will go to that particular
Kaya
investment.
magrereklamo yung isang partner
Magrereklamo.
na palagi na lang nasa mga kaibigan, palagi na lang
Mm.
nasa work, palagi na lang nasa simbahan, yung mga
During
gano'n, 'di
night
ba?
time, when it's time for sexual activity, natutulog si Abi.
Mm.
Oh, tinutulugan mo na lang ba? That's the answer there. Because the sexual energy is drained to something else, not anymore in their marriage. So we call it sexual passion, sexual energies, investment. And
So
that
how can we get back to that particular complaint, no? How can we get back na para bang magba-bounce back tayo? Anong gagawin ng mag-asawa para magba-bounce back yung passion nila for each other and they will be now serving each other through the sexual act?
that's why the marriage expert Jimmy Evans was talking about something like this is not a difficult case because the manner you were into it, that the process of migrating your investment from marriage to some other things, you just reverse it. You just reverse it. It's a matter of decision. So
Reverse it.
i-invest back to your marriage.
Mhm. So,
Time, your
kaya,
energies,
yun yung,
balik ka sa marriage.
kaya yun yung sinasabi na may dinner dates,
Yeah,
mayroong
spending
escapade,
time together, that's basic.
'di ba? When mag-boyfriend pa lang tayo, iba yung
Uh,
time spent with each other, right?
ayaw
So,
tayong magsakay ng ano,
jeepney, dapat
lakad
maglakad
lang,
lang,
holding hands.
holding.
Sexual energies are there,
Mm.
invested in the relationship. That's why you have
So,
passion.
yun yung nawawala during marriage. Kasi yung energy nila nafo-focus na sa finding food, finding money,
Yeah.
finding ano pa. So,
Mm.
tapos wala nang fun, parang
Mm.
tinanggal na yung fun kasi yun yung element of fun eh, yung nanonood kayo ng sine,
Yeah.
'di ba? Yun yung element of fun natin. Eh palagi na lang tayo naghahanap buhay, palagi na lang pinaghahanapan na sana yung sweldo mo, yung parang gano'n na nawala yung fun
Yes.
ng mag-asawa.
Oh.
So kaya mahalaga din na within marriage, meron talagang element of fun para hindi mawawala yung passion natin sa isa't
Yes,
isa.
correct, Jet.
Mm-mm.
Because that is the hot ingredient of the love recipe. The moment passion is gone in marriage, the warmth in intimacy is also gone.
Mm-mm.
But
So,
no, and
siguro,
commitment will also backslide.
pero siguro,
Oh.
yung isa't isa, sila yung, kaya mahalaga din yung nagpa-plan out ka mo.
That's why sex is thinking
Nagpa-plan
about
out
it.
kayo na saan ba, ano bang escapade natin? Kasi we will be thinking about na we will have a different room than the children and maging exciting siya.
Yeah.
Naka-overnight kami sa resort. So, doon susunod na yung mga activities na yon sa
Yes.
mag-asawa
Oh.
na hindi mangyayari kung palagi na lang yung energy mo pa-work na lang, pa-children na lang, focus
Worse
na
if
lang.
on vices. Nakaka-drain talaga yung vices. So, pag nandun ka sa vices, yung energies mo, sexual energies, nandun. Nawala.
Tapos addictive din siya.
Addictive din siya.
Addictive din siya.
Okay lang yung ma-addict ka sa iyong asawa.
Yes. So, maging addict ka sa iyong asawa.
Huwag lang sa iba.
Maging addict ka sa iyong asawa, wag lang sa iba. So, another complaint na nakikita natin is nabuntis yung wifey. Dahil alam naman natin na yung purpose of sexual act is sexuality in marriage is actually bonding and then procreation.
Babies.
Magkaroon ng babies. Minsan narinig natin sa partner natin na my pregnancy is a big mistake. My pregnancy is a big mistake.
Talagang mistake itong pagbubuntis.
It's out of timing. Wala siya sa timing. Yung naririnig natin yan, di ba?
Pero malalim ang pinagmula ng statement na yan.
So one source of that particular statement na nakikita sa research is that hindi sila nakarating sa maximum satisfaction.
Especially the wife. Because ang wife ang magdadala na for 9 months and it's a sacrifice. And prior to that sacrifice, there has to be a reward for accepting the responsibility of having a baby, and that would be pleasure. But then, if the wife in particular has not attained the maximum pleasure of sex,
Oo.
that's the
So,
beginning of a complaint.
yun nga,
Ah,
tinuturo natin
okay.
yan sa mga couples kasi sa assessment natin, 'di ba tinatanong natin, o wifey, nasa instrument, 'di ba?
Mm.
Lalabas talaga sa instrument ng assessment natin na si wifey ilang beses ba yung expectation niya for sex?
Sex,
Oh, yung mga wifey, yung mga sagot nila,
20 times a
two
day.
times a week. Yun
Totoo. A
yung
week lang?
average, yeah.
Weekly? Ah,
Oo,
okay.
twice a week.
Oh.
Yun yung average na nakikita. And then yung mga lalaki, minsan, once or twice a month na lang.
Ah.
So, hindi magkatugma.
Ano nangyari sa mga lalaki? Bakit monthly na lang? Parang bills?
Oo.
Ah,
So parang ang si ano, Judith,
ah.
si Judith, no, mayroon siyang
Anyway,
Judith.
there are reasons for that, of course.
Mm.
And
So yung isa siguro tinuturo natin is si lalaki dapat marunong maghintay kay wifey dahil kung medyo with respect to pinapainit mo sa plancha,
oh,
mas matagal umiinit si wifey compared kay hubby.
because the
Oo,
wiring of a
because
woman's
of the
body,
wiring of
the
a
woman's
hubby and the wifey's physical component. Physiology kasi yan eh, 'di ba?
okay. So what does science say with regards to the number, the duration of heating up?
Si hubby, umiinit yan 3 to 5 minutes lang.
Oh,
Si wifey, umiinit yan 10 to 15 minutes.
okay.
So medyo mabagal si wifey kesa kay hubby. Kaya si hubby dapat maghintay kay wifey.
Imposing
And
yan.
then at the same time, si wifey naman, dapat turuan niya si hubby kung saan yung mga points ng katawan niya
Regions.
or regions ng mga katawan niya na pwedeng i-access ni hubby, pwedeng i-access ni hubby para mapadali yung pag-init niya.
Can we use some specific terms here, psychological or some biological? Okay ba lang? Wala bang bata dito?
Siguro wala naman
Okay.
kasi
So, duration of the sexual orgasm. Okay, yung peak ng pleasure ng sex, alam natin lahat yan, yung couples. Okay? Pagdating, the duration for reaching the peak of the orgasm for men is shorter than women. 3 to 5 minutes lang ang sa lalaki. Uminit ka, init, 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 bang, orgasm yan, 3 to 5 minutes. Anong mangyari after orgasm? Patay na si lalaki. Tumba lahat.
Oo. And
Patay
then
na siya,
si
tulog na
wifey,
siya.
isa lang sa kanya kasi 10 to 15
10 to 15
minutes siya.
minutes yung
So,
kayong mga babae.
yes. So kaya dapat sasabihin mo rin kay hubby na dito mas mapadali mo akong mas magalit mas
And
I,
that
I find it
involves communication.
exciting, I find it pleasurable.
Yeah.
So and that means you have to communicate with each other.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So kaya dapat mahalaga dito na you communicate with each other. So when you are going to do the act you are not expecting you are not doing a project of a baby. So dapat you also have to agree with that.
Yes.
Kasi yan din yung isang bagay na obstacle siya na
That
you
becomes
find it pleasurable. Kasi yung isa, 'di ba, thinking yung sex is
na-oppress siya sa fear,
na-stress siya,
na-stress siya.
nasi-stress siya kasi ayaw kong mabuntis tapos yung hindi niya kino-communicate sa partner niya. Tapos yung isa naman, ay sige lang, okay lang naman. Tapos hindi kayo nag-agree with each other. So it can be stressful on the part of the other partner and it can also trigger dissatisfaction on your part with respect to that particular gift na para sa mag-asawa.
But that will be another episode on responsible parenthood, starting with the sexual union. But here our concern is the pleasure, the experience of pleasure as a requirement of accepting the responsibility of raising a child. If the woman does not reach that peak because of circumstances, they do not know, like nagmamadali yung lalaki. nag-orgasm na siya, si babae umiinit pa lang in a scale of 1 to 10, 2 pa lang ang kanyang init. That would lead to what? Frustration. I have talked to some wives on this matter. Hindi sila makatulog, sabi nila. Mabigat ang kanilang kalooban. Parang galit sila. Nandun sila
Kasi
lying with,
frustrated
na
eh.
frustrated, lying in bed with the man na natutulog na, yung, nag,
Nagsusnore. Eh, meron namang iba tatay na merong timing, right? Na hinihintay ni hubby, si wifey na iinit talaga at silang dalawa ay nakarating talaga sa maximum satisfaction.
oh,
But then, after reaching the maximum satisfaction, they also have to know the biological component ng babae na dahil matagal tayong umiinit, it's sloping very slowly, eh matagal din tayong lumalamig.
yes, oh.
Oo. So, kaso nga, kung iiwanan agad,
Kung iiwanan ni lalaki,
kung iiwanan agad ni hubby,
malaking awa yan.
so magiging frustrated din si babae. Kasi you also have to stroke some touches yung wife hanggang lumalamig siya.
Yeah.
So, hindi pwede na up at saka down agad si lalaki. Dapat there is this communication na you have to agree with each other, you have to wait and be patient with your wife. So tatlong nakikita ko dito sa foundations of a healthy sexual encounter. Una is meron talagang servanthood. Yung idea mo na ginagawa mo ito because you are serving the person, you are serving your partner.
Meaning, hindi ka magmamadali. You have to see to it that pleasure also comes to your partner with regards to sexual act.
Second is fun. Dapat merong element of fun. Kasi kung walang element of fun, yan, maboboard yung isa, maghahanap ng funny thing. So maghahanap ng something pleasurable and dapat walang stress. No, walang stress dahil ayaw dito, ayaw mabuntis, yung mga ganun. So
yung fun na aspect yan, it can be a change of venue, it can be going to checking in a hotel for just once in a year. That can be fun.
And then another third element of a healthy sexual encounter is communication.
Yes.
So one, servanthood, second is fun, and then third is
And
communication.
the wife has to communicate to the husband during love making so as to enhance, okay, her, to increase her duration to reach that peak of orgasm.
And then yung naghihintay ka, being patient na lalo na kay wifey, no? Na hinihintay mo siya at pinapalamig mo rin siya. That's the fourth element of a healthy sexual encounter, and that is what we call empathy. Na mayroon talagang seeing the world of your partner. Yung perspective kasi serving ka sa kanya eh. So yung perspective niya, ano, kulang pa ba? So we have to
empathize.
So dapat merong feeling na kung ako ang nasa lugar niya, ano naman yung maging feeling ko, 'di ba? Kung ako yung nakukulangan, kung ako yung frustrated, ano naman yung mangyayari sa akin? So dapat talagang merong ganong concept.
Kasi naging basis yan ng complaint ng marami.
And then another thing is you also have to know that meron talagang difference between the wiring of a man and a woman.
Of course.
So yung healthy differentiation that you have to kahit nagkaisa tayo, yung parang one flesh na tayo, but there is this difference of identity.
Of course, man and woman, you have gender difference. And that has something to do with maintaining and preserving our respective identities, because it is where our attraction comes into play at the very start. Because when we struggle to become the same with our partner, ay problema yan. Mawawala yung point of attraction mo before. Nakikita mo sa kanya lang yun. Sa'yo, skin. Pag magsa-struggle ako, katulad sa skin mo, mawawala yung attraction ko sa skin mo. Malaking gulo yan because happiness is not sameness.
Yeah, because when we are already, yung nawawala na yung identity mo, hindi ka na rin sasaya. Dapat
Babae
preserve.
ka
Oo.
in marriage. You
So,
are a woman, you are the wife.
oo. So talagang you also have to respect the identity of one person. Yung asawa mo na ito talaga yung personality niya.
Yes.
Ito yung kutis niya, ito yung pag-iisip
Yan,
niya.
na-inlove ako
Oo.
sa katangian niya.
Oo. So you also have to consider that para lalo kayong uh, magbabond with each other.
Yes.
Kasi yung, alam natin na yung sexuality is not just about the sexual act, but even if you're already just holding hands, kasi pag tumatanda, masyadong wala ka ng strength sa mga ganong activity, di ba? So, nag-iiba na rin yung way of bonding ninyo.
And sexual activity will not be confined to this genital activity. As we grow older, sexual energies will be focused on some other things like the care of the other person. I-focus, i-invest mo sa marriage, yung sexual energy, because sex is not just on the aspect of the sexual organs, involving sexual organs, but sex is anything that gives pleasure to a person. So as we grow older, sexual energies with regards to sexual intercourse, it might migrate. So what remains is our drive and our energy to care for each other, so that intimacy would remain, so that passion is evident and commitment remains.
Yes. So, tumatanggap na tayo ngayon ng mga questions. Kung mayroon kayong mga tanong, we still have about 8 minutes to go para mag-entertain kami ng mga questions ninyo. And in case po, dahil sa culture natin na hindi tayo masyadong open sa mga ganitong discussion, pwede nyo po kaming i-PM, pwede nyo po kaming mag-private message lang po kayo kung mayroon kayong mga issues na dapat privately pag-usapan.
Yes.
So, I'm inviting you to download my free ebook on the 7-step solution to rescue your marriage before it starts to crumble. So, saan nyo ida-download? Diyan lang po sa gjetelnar.com na website po natin. Doon kayo kukuha ng kopya ng ebook ninyo. Diyon makikita ninyo kung ano ba yung mga fast track na gagawin natin para mapalago yung relationship natin. Okay, so in that case, also for those who are watching in YouTube, do not forget to click the subscribe button para po naman ma-notify kayo once na magla-live kami ulit. Every week po tayo sa Marriage Empowerment Toast every 9 o'clock a.m. sa Tuesday. So we are inviting you to follow us through our Marriage Empowerment Tribe page. So doon lang po kayo, you follow us, and then yung nasa YouTube, kindly click the subscribe button po. And then yung kung gusto kayo ng kopya ng 7-step solution ng Rescue Your Marriage Before It Starts to Crumble, you just visit my website, gjetelnar.com. So, meron na bang mga tanong? Meron bang magtatanong? So, siguro wala. So, just for a summary of what we had this morning, mabigat yung topic natin.
That's why mag-toast muna tayo.
Toast ulit. So, marriage empowerment toast na medyo mabigat yung topic natin sa ngayon. Hindi siya mauubos for 1 hour. So,
not an ordinary topic for conversation.
This is not an ordinary topic, but then we decided to really venture and discuss these things to you para malagyan naman ng medyo malalim na understanding yung love and sex in marriage. So, for a summary, yung sex na bigay ng Diyos sa atin as a gift for couples in their committing each other for life, no? So, para siyang pagkain eh. So, mayroong food at naalala ko yung kay Father Leo na sinabi niya na F is for fidelity. Food siya ng marriage natin at kailangan natin titingnan din yung faithfulness natin sa isa't isa.
Food na nagbibigay ng pleasure.
Yeah, food na nagbibigay ng pleasure, and F here is fidelity.
Yes.
Okay, so we have to be faithful to the covenant. And then O here is obedience. Ano ba yung obedience? Obedience na ano ba yung purpose ng sex, ng regalong ito sa atin na mag-asawa. And we know in the first part of this particular sharing na yung obedient to the will of God, obedient to the purpose, that this is servanthood. This is serving our partner, and that ang purpose niya, ang gamit niya is for bonding and for
Yes,
procreation.
that's why it is in the context of marriage.
Yes. And then O naman sa food is opportunity. The opportunity to express your love.
Yeah,
Okay? This is an opportunity to serve.
yeah,
This is an opportunity to have fun.
to bond with each other,
Uh-huh.
to have a bonding and intimate relationship with the other,
Oo.
and
So,
to participate also in the procreation of life.
yes. So fidelity to the covenant, F, and then O is obedience to the purpose of sexual act in marriage, that is for bonding and for procreation. And then third one is the opportunity to serve, the opportunity to express my love to my partner. And letter D is discernment.
Yeah.
You have to discern. Dapat talagang tama ba itong ginagawa ko if I do it outside of
And that
marriage?
makes it very deep already if we speak of discernment.
Mm. So, dapat pinag-iisipan ng bawat couple kung gagawin natin ito before wedding, kung gagawin natin ito outside of the marital commitment, anong mangyayari? So, ang ginagawa natin dito is we look sex in the context of love,
Yes.
passion, intimacy, and commitment, and that we also have to look at it na isa siyang food ng ating relasyon bilang mag-asawa. That we remain faithful to our covenant, obedient to its purpose na gagawin natin sa loob ng marriage natin, and its purpose is for bonding and for procreation. This is an opportunity to serve,
Yes.
opportunity to express our love, and letter D, we need to discern. Kasi hindi talaga mawawala yung problema, hindi mawawala yung dissatisfaction, hindi mawawala yung communication,
Yes,
na yung different wiring natin, yung focus ng passion mo, ng energy mo, wala na pala sa marriage ninyo, nasa trabaho mo na, nasa ibang ano ba yan, ibang outlet na yung pinagbibigyan mo ng mga energies mo at nakakasira ng relasyon.
That's why sex has been seen as thinking about it.
Yes.
We think, we discern. More than thinking, we discern. Because you have a very sacred thing in marriage, that is sex.
Okay, so God bless everyone, and we thank you for your patience in being with us here in our third episode na minsan lang pinag-uusapan, na hindi siya pinag-uusapan sa loob ng pamilya, and we sometimes have the difficulty explaining it to our children, and minsan mababaw lang yung understanding natin na hanggang sexual, genital, ano lang natin, satisfaction ang sex, hindi po, kundi mas may malalim na purpose ang Panginoon kung bakit niya ibinigay ang regalong ito sa atin. And see you in our next episode po sa next Tuesday every 9 o'clock a.m. This is Marriage Empowerment Toast with Money and Jet. God bless and more power.
More power. God